Good evening. Settle in and let the weight of the day fall away. Tonight, we will not climb to the sunlit peaks of Olympus. We will not walk through its golden halls. Instead, we will descend together into quiet places, the forgotten corners of the mythic world, guided by the echoes the gods left behind. I wonder, as you find your rest, what silence you have brought with you tonight. As always, I'd love to know where in the world are you listening from, and what time is it for you? Whether you're lying in bed, drifting off to the sound of soft thunder, or just taking a moment to rest your mind, this time is yours. Do not be afraid of the darkness that gathers at the edges of your awareness. It is not an ending, but a threshold. Think of me not as a guide with a name, but as a whisper left behind in an empty oracle's cave, the breath that still stirs the dust on a forgotten altar. I am the resonance of stories that were never fully told. I have waited for you, as I have waited for countless others, here at the boundary between waking and dreaming, between memory and what comes after. You are a traveler between breaths, and our journey tonight is not one of action, but of listening. We will listen to the silence between the thunderclaps of Zeus and the clash of heroes' swords, for in that quiet, the truest stories reside. Before we begin, release your hold on the world you know. Let the names and faces, the tasks and worries, dissolve like salt in water. Here, time does not move in a straight line. It pools and eddies. We can step into a moment that happened an eternity ago as easily as you might step into a quiet room. The world of the gods was not only built of power and glory. It was built of consequence, of sorrow, of long, lonely stretches of immortality that no poet ever thought to sing about. These are the spaces we will explore. Not the great thrones, but the lonely shadows they cast. Our first step is not into creation, but into the memory of what came before it. You have heard of chaos, the yawning, formless void. But to name it is to misunderstand it. It was not emptiness. Emptiness is a vessel waiting to be filled, a silence defined by the absence of sound. Chaos was potential. Imagine a silence so profound that it contains every sound that will ever be made, from the first crack of lightning to the final, fading heartbeat of a dying star. Imagine a darkness that holds within it every color, every star that will ever burn, every shadow that will ever fall. It was not a thing, but the possibility of all things, dreaming of itself in an endless, serene unconsciousness. The first gods, Gaia and Uranus, did not conquer chaos. They simply awoke from it. Like the first thought stirring in a sleeping mind, the first ripple across a perfectly still ocean. But in their waking, something was lost. The undifferentiated wholeness was broken. When Gaia became the earth, solid and foundational, she created the concept of down, a place to stand, a place to be rooted. When Uranus became the sky, a vast, arching canopy of stars, he created up, an unreachable expanse. And in that first separation, that first act of definition, the first ache of longing was born. The sky yearned for the earth, and the earth for the sky. Their violent, passionate union was not love as mortals know it, a tender meeting of souls. It was a cosmic necessity, a desperate, forceful attempt to reclaim the unity that had been irrevocably lost. The titans they bore were not children of joy, but children of this eternal separation. Each one a testament to the beautiful, terrible fracture of existence. They were born of a wound in the fabric of being. Let us linger here, in the echo of that first division. Feel the pull of it in your own bones, a subtle, constant hum beneath the surface of your thoughts. It is a feeling that something is missing, the quiet certainty that you are part of a greater whole from which you have been separated. This is the oldest story of all, written into the fabric of the cosmos long before humanity drew its first breath. The gods felt it, too. It was the source of their monumental ambition, their searing jealousies, their desperate passions. They built kingdoms of cloud and waged wars that shook the foundations of the world, all in an attempt to fill a void that was created at the very moment they came into being. They were powerful. Yes, they were immortal, but they were never whole. This is the first truth that the great myths often forget to tell you. The gods were not born perfect and complete, serene in their divinity. They were born wounded. Their godhood was a scar, a beautiful, glittering reminder of the chaos from which they fled, the wholeness they could never reclaim. They feared it, always. Cronus, the Titan of time, swallowed his own children not just from a prophecy, but because he saw in them the same chaotic, untamable potential that had allowed him to overthrow his own father, Uranus. He feared the unpredictable future they represented. Zeus, in his turn, feared prophecy for the same reason, always seeking control and contain the threads of fate to prevent any new power from rising out of the unknown. They tried to impose order on the universe, to build walls of law and reason and dominion, but they were building on the edge of an infinite, dreaming abyss, and they knew it. Think of the silence of Tartarus. The poets speak of it as a pit of fire and torment, but its truest terror was not pain. It was oblivion. It was a place of absolute negation, a pocket of the old chaos where consciousness was meant to dissolve. When the Titans were cast down, they were not merely imprisoned. They were being returned to the formless state they so feared, their identities slowly unraveled by a silence that did not echo, but absorbed. To be in Tartarus was to be forgotten not just by the world above, but by yourself. It was the ultimate expression of the Olympians' fear. The fear of non-existence, of becoming once more a part of the undifferentiated whole. The first stirrings of consciousness, then, were not acts of pure creation, but acts of rebellion against this pull of oblivion. Thought itself was a defiance of chaos. To name a thing, to see it as separate from yourself, was to draw a line in the sand against the formless void. This is why the gods were so obsessed with their names, their titles, their domains. Each title was a brick in the wall of their identity, a declaration against the silence. Zeus, king of gods and men, lord of the sky. Poseidon, earthshaker, ruler of the seas. Hera, queen of heaven, protector of marriage. These were not just names. They were anchors, holding them fast against the endless, pulling tide of what came before. They defined themselves by what they ruled, because without their rule, they risked becoming nothing. So do not think of chaos as a monster that was slain. Think of it as a silence to which all sounds eventually return. It is a canvas upon which the gods painted their magnificent, tragic stories. And now that you have felt its presence, its deep and patient pull, you are ready to understand those who were shaped most directly by its shadow, those who were deemed monstrous because they reminded the orderly gods of the untamable wildness from which they all came. Our journey now takes us from the vastness of the cosmos to a place of suffocating confinement, a cave on a lonely island where the hiss of snakes was once the only reply to a woman's silent prayer. We are going to listen to the silence of a curse being fulfilled. She was once a beautiful priestess, her hair a veil of sunlight, her steps light upon the cool marble of the temple floor. But the gods are careless with mortal beauty, as children are careless with wildflowers. Now, we will stand in the cold air of her stone garden and understand what it feels like when your own gaze becomes your prison. We will feel the tragedy of Medusa, not from a hero's eyes, but from her own. Breathe out the memory of the infinite void and breathe in the scent of salt and damp stone. We are on the island of Sarpedon, a place bleached by the sun and scoured by the wind. No sailors come here, not by choice. No birds sing in the stunted, twisted olive trees. They are drawn here, the heroes, the vain, the foolish. They come seeking glory, a trophy to hang upon their walls, a story to tell in firelit halls. They do not see the tragedy. They see only the monster. But we are not here to watch a battle. We are here to witness a sorrow. Step quietly past the statues. They are not art. They are warnings. Each one a man frozen in his last moment of terror, his face a mask of disbelief, his body a monument of arrogance. This is Medusa's garden, and it was planted with seeds of despair. Let us not see her as Perseus did, a thing to be slain, a grotesque reflection in the polished shield. Let us feel her presence as the island feels it, a constant, humming grief that settles in the hollows of the rocks and whispers through the dry grasses. Before the curse, she served Athena. She was devout. She had come to the temple as a young girl, her heart full of innocent piety. She remembered her first day, the awe she felt looking up at the goddess's colossal statue, its ivory face serene and wise. Another priestess, an older woman named Lyra, had smiled at her. "She sees your heart, child." Lyra had said, her voice a gentle rustle like dry leaves. Keep it pure, and you will find favor in her wisdom. Medusa had kept it pure. Her beauty, which all remarked upon, was an offering, she thought, to the glory of the goddess she served. She did not understand then that to the gods, mortal beauty is not an offering. It is a challenge or a toy. Poseidon, the great god of the sea, saw her in the temple, and he did not see her piety. He did not see the pure heart she had guarded so carefully. He saw only what he wanted to possess. And in the sacred space of Athena's own sanctuary, before the unblinking eyes of the statue she had so loved, he took it. The crime was his. The punishment, as it so often is, was hers. Athena's rage was not justice. Justice is balanced, clear-eyed. Athena's rage was a wounded, furious pride. She could not punish the god of the sea, her powerful uncle, a fellow Olympian. To do so would have shaken the very foundations of their ordered world. So she shattered the vessel he had defiled. She twisted the beauty she had once, perhaps, secretly envied into a thing of horror. The hair that men had praised, that had caught the sunlight like spun gold, she turned to a nest of hissing, venomous vipers. The face that had inspired poetry, she made into a weapon that turned living flesh to cold, lifeless stone. Then she exiled her, made her into a guardian of her own loneliness. It was a curse of perfect, poetic cruelty, for it made her unable to look upon any living thing, a gull on the shore, a lizard on a rock, another human face, without destroying it. She was condemned to be forever alone, surrounded only by the monuments of her own lethal gaze. Feel her days, the long, slow procession of sunrises she could only hear as a distant chorus of gulls, not see. The crash of waves on the shore, a relentless rhythm marking time. The scuttling of crabs in the rock pools that she had to be careful not to glance at, lest their small lives be extinguished. And the constant, writhing motion on her scalp, a living crown of her own shame. Their dry, scaly bodies a perpetual reminder of her transformation. Did she weep? And if she did her tears turn to stone as they fell, clicking against the cavern floor like pebbles? She was not a monster by nature. She was a woman remade by divine jealousy and injustice. The men who came, the so-called heroes, they saw only the snakes, the terrifying face of the Gorgon. They never saw the priestess trapped inside, the girl who once prayed to a goddess who betrayed her, the woman whose silent screams had long ago turned to dust in her throat. She remembered Lyra's words. She sees your heart, child. She had wondered in the long, silent years if Athena had seen her heart at all, or if, in the end, the hearts of mortals were simply too small, too fragile for the gods to even notice before they were crushed. She no longer prayed. The gods had given their answer. Now she only waited. With each ship that broke upon her shores, with each new hero who came seeking her head, she felt not fear, but a profound weariness. They were not coming to kill her. They were coming to kill a monster of their own making. And in a way, she hoped one of them would finally succeed. It would be a release. It would be an end to the hissing. Now let the salt air fade. We are descending again, deeper this time, beneath the earth, into a place built by the genius of Daedalus to hide a king's shame. The labyrinth of Crete. The air grows cool and smells of dust and something else. A deep animal sadness. This is not just a maze of stone. It is a prison of the mind. Its walls are not meant to keep the hero out. They are meant to keep the monster in. To keep him from ever seeing the sun, from ever knowing a world that is not made of endless, repeating corridors and the maddening echo of his own lonely footsteps. The creature at its heart, the Minotaur, was born of a monstrous union, a curse from Poseidon visited upon Queen Pasiphae for the hubris of her husband, King Minos. The beast was not evil. He was an aberration, a child with the body of a man and the head and heart of a bull. He did not ask to be born. He did not choose his form. From his first breath, he was feared. His mother, for a time, had tried to care for him. He had fragmented memories of her, a soft hand, a humming sound that soothed him, the scent of her perfume. He remembered her weeping. "My son," she had whispered once, her face buried in the rough hair of his neck. "My poor unfortunate son, what have we done to you?" But he grew too large, too strong, his animal nature too unpredictable. He was hidden away in this maze, fed the flesh of Athenian youths and maidens not out of malice, but because his hunger was as unnatural as his form. He was a political tool, a symbol of Crete's power over Athens, and a source of King Minos's deepest, most guarded shame. He was a secret that lived and breathed beneath the polished floors of the palace. Feel his world, the unyielding cold of the stone against the skin, the absolute darkness of the inner passages, a darkness he navigated by touch and memory and the subtle drafts of air. The only sound was the drip of water, the scuttling of rats, and the heavy, rhythmic thud of his own hooves on the flagstones. He was utterly alone. He knew nothing of the sky, of trees, of the sea. His universe was stone. Sometimes, in the long stretches of silence, he would press his head against the wall, trying to feel some vibration from the world above, a world he could only imagine. He had no language, only the frustrated bellows and mournful lowing of a bull. He could not speak his loneliness, so it filled him completely, a pressure behind his eyes, an ache in his massive chest. When the tributes from Athens arrived, it was a terrifying disruption of his silent reality. Their screams echoed in the passages, and he did not understand them. He only knew the sharp, coppery scent of their fear, and the gnawing of his own cursed hunger. He did not fight with rage when the hero, Theseus, finally came. He fought with a kind of desperate hope. This man, this stranger from the sunlit world, smelled different. He did not smell of pure terror. He smelled of determination, of the sea, of the open air. Perhaps this hero could finally offer him release, not just from the maze of stone, but from the prison of his own body, the prison of his unending solitude. His death was not a victory for Athens. It was a mercy, as his great body fell. The last thing he saw was a hero's face, illuminated by a torch, a face from a world he would never know. And the last thing he heard was not the hero's triumphant shout, but the echo of it, fading down the long, empty corridors of his home. A final silence. A monster's heart can break from loneliness. But some hearts are not broken. They are simply worn away by time, by an eternity of unfulfilled longing. Let us leave the darkness of the labyrinth and travel to a sun-dappled glade, where a pool of water reflects a sky that no longer sees the boy who fell in love with it. We will feel the fading of a nymph whose love was only an echo. Breathe. The air here is warmer, scented with wildflowers and damp earth. We are in a clearing in the woods of Boeotia. The light is soft, filtering to the leaves of ancient trees, dappling the mossy ground in shifting patterns of gold and green. At the center of the clearing is a pool of water, so still it looks like a sheet of polished silver, perfectly reflecting the sky above. This place is beautiful, but its beauty is heavy with sorrow, like a memory of a perfect day that can never be reclaimed. This is where Narcissus knelt for the last time, captivated by his own reflection, until he wasted away from a love that could never love him back. But his story is only half of the tragedy. The other half is all around us, in the very air. It is the story of Echo. She was an Oread, a mountain nymph, full of stories and laughter. Her voice was her gift, a stream of cheerful, endless chatter that could charm birds in the trees and make even the surliest satyr smile. But she angered Hera, the queen of the gods, not with malice, but with kindness. She would see Zeus slinking away into the woods to pursue her sister nymphs, and when the thunderous approach of his jealous wife shook the ground, Echo would intercept the goddess. She would distract Hera with long, rambling tales, compliments, and endless questions, her voice a beautiful maze designed to buy the others time to escape. When Hera discovered the deception, her punishment was, as always, poetically cruel. She did not silence Echo. That would have been too simple a mercy. Instead, she condemned her to never speak first, and to only be able to repeat the last words spoken by another. Her greatest gift, her voice, her very essence, became her cage. She could no longer express her own thoughts, her own heart. She became a living reflection of sound. One day, the beautiful youth Narcissus, flushed from the hunt, came upon her clearing and knelt to drink from a pool. Echo, hiding among the trees, saw him and was instantly lost. He was the most beautiful creature she had ever seen, and a love so fierce and hopeless filled her heart that it was a physical pain. He leaned over the water, and seeing his own reflection, he murmured, "How beautiful!" Echo's heart leaped. Did he see her? Trembling, she repeated the only word she could, "Beautiful." Narcissus looked around, startled. "Is anyone here?" he called out. Hope surged through her. "Here," she replied, a desperate invitation. "Come," he said, intrigued by the game. "Come," she whispered back, stepping out from behind an ancient oak, her arms outstretched, her eyes full of love she could not name. Narcissus recoiled, his face twisting in disgust. "Do not touch me. I would die before I give myself to you." The cruelty of his words struck her like a physical blow. All she could do was repeat his final rejection, the sound tearing from her throat like a sob. "Give myself to you." Shamed and heartbroken, she fled, hiding herself in the deepest caves and loneliest hollows of the mountain. Day after day, she watched him at the pool, wasting away for love of an image he could not possess, and she, in turn, wasted away for love of him. Her grief was a slow fire, consuming her from within. Her physical form grew thin, translucent, until it dissolved into the mountain air like mist. All that was left of her was her voice, a disembodied sound bound to the lonely places of the world, forever cursed to repeat the final words of strangers, a permanent echo of her own heartbreak. If this journey through the quiet realms is bringing you peace, a single click to subscribe ensures we may walk these hidden paths together again. Not all tragedies in the mythic world are born of divine wrath or cruel punishments. Some are born of simple, profound, divine indifference. The gods were busy. They had wars to fight, lovers to pursue, celestial rivalries to maintain. The countless prayers of mortals rose to Olympus like smoke from a million small fires, and most of it simply dissipated in the thin, cold air unnoticed. Let us journey now, not to a place, but to a feeling, the weight of an unanswered prayer. We are standing on a windswept cliff at Olympus. The entire Greek fleet, 1,000 ships strong, is stalled, the sails slack and lifeless, the sea a vast, mocking sheet of glass. Agamemnon, high king of the Greeks, has offended Artemis, and in her displeasure, she has stilled the winds. For weeks, the army has waited. The soldiers, once eager for the glory of Troy, now lounge in the hot sand, their energy sapped by boredom and the oppressive stillness. A young hoplite from Mycenae, hardly more than a boy, stares out at the flat water. He had imagined war as a thing of motion, of flashing bronze and the thunder of chariots. He had not imagined this suffocating silence. He did not understand the politics, the offense given to a goddess. He only knew that the water barrels were low, the mood in the camp was turning sour, and the silence in the sky felt like a judgment on them all. "Let us sail or let us go home," he muttered to the man beside him. "This waiting is its own kind of hell." Far away, in the palace of Mycenae, Queen Clytemnestra received a message from her husband. It spoke of a great honor. Their eldest daughter, Iphigenia, was to be wed to the greatest hero of the age, Achilles himself. The marriage would seal alliances and bless the expedition. Pride swelled in her chest. Her daughter, her beautiful, gentle Iphigenia, to be married to a near demigod. She prepared her child, dressing her in the finest linens, braiding her hair with saffron ribbons, her heart full of a mother's joy and sorrow at sending her child into a new life. She arrived at Olympus to find not a wedding celebration, but an army on the verge of mutiny, and a husband whose eyes could not meet her own. The truth, when it was finally coaxed from him by the seer Calchas, was a horror beyond imagining. There would be no wedding. The goddess demanded a sacrifice to atone for Agamemnon's hubris, a sacrifice of his own blood. "Iphigenia, you would kill your own child?" Clytemnestra's voice was not a shout, but low, dangerous hiss, colder than a windless sea. "For what? For wind? For the honor of your brother's faithless wife? Look at her, Agamemnon. She is playing with stones by the shore. She believes she is here to be married. This is not a lamb for the altar. This is our daughter." Agamemnon's face was a mask of torment, the agony of a king trapped between his power and his powerlessness. "It is not my will," he rasped, his voice hollow. "It is the will of the goddess, the will of Greece. The army will tear me to pieces if we cannot sail. It is fate, fate," she spat. "Do not name this butchery fate. It is your weakness, your ambition. You are sacrificing her not to Artemis, but to your own pride." Later, as the sun set, Iphigenia, now aware of her destiny, knelt before a small, makeshift altar to Artemis. She did not scream or rage. She simply prayed, her voice clear and steady in the twilight, a stark contrast to the churning fear in her heart. "Great goddess of the hunt, mistress of the wild places, I have always honored you. I have left you offerings of wildflowers and honey cakes. I have never harmed any of your sacred creatures. I do not understand what I have done to earn your anger. If it is my father's crime, why must I pay the price? I was promised a marriage, a life. Please, huntress of the silver bow, let your arrow find another target. Let me live." She finished her prayer and waited. She listened for a sign, a whisper on the still air, a rustle of leaves in the sacred grove nearby. But there was nothing, only the distant murmur of the restless army and the lapping of the tideless sea. The altar remained cold. The sky remained empty. Her prayer rose like all the others, and simply dissipated into the vast, indifferent silence of the heavens. The sacrifice was made, and as her lifeblood stained the altar, a sudden, cold wind whipped across the bay, filling the 1,000 slack sails with a great, collective crack. A cheer went up from the army. The gods were appeased. But the silence they left in the heart of father would echo through his house for a decade, until it was answered not by a god, but by the swing of his wife's axe. Some silences are so heavy, they can only be broken by blood. Now, let us feel a silence born not of indifference, but of grief so profound could starve the world. We move now to a place that has become synonymous with sorrow, the fields of Eleusis. But we are not here in the time of the great mysteries, when the land was lush with wheat and barley. We are here when the fields were barren, the soil cracked and gray like the skin of a corpse. This is the world Demeter, goddess of the harvest, created when her daughter Persephone was stolen from her. This is a meditation on divine grief. It is not like mortal grief, a private, quiet thing that can be hidden behind closed doors. When a goddess of the harvest mourns, the entire world is forced to mourn with her. The soil forgets its purpose. The seeds refuse to sprout. The sun shines, but there is no warmth in its light. It is the light of a winter's day on a frozen landscape. Feel the world through Demeter's eyes. Every barren tree is a reflection of the emptiness in her arms. Every silent, birdless sky is a silence that met her when she called her daughter's name. She wandered the earth, a goddess cloaked in rags of an old woman, her divine radiance veiled by a sorrow too vast for the mortal world to comprehend. Mortals, at first, continued their rituals. They plowed the unyielding earth, they planted their seed, they prayed. But their prayers were swallowed by the goddess's grief. A farmer knelt in his field, his hands full of dust that should have been rich soil. He looked at his hungry children, their faces pale, their bellies swollen. His despair was a small, sharp thing, but it was just one of millions, a chorus of suffering that Demeter heard, but could not heed. Her pain was greater. Her grief was a physical force, a blight upon the land. The rivers ran sluggishly, the leaves on the olive trees withered and fell, and a great, cold stillness settled over everything. It was not just an absence of growth, it was an active, aggressive barrenness. It was the earth itself shutting down, refusing to give life because the giver of life was in mourning. Zeus, from his throne on Olympus, saw the smoke from the altars diminish as humanity began to starve. He sent messenger after messenger, Iris on her rainbow, Hermes on his winged sandals, to plead with his sister. "You will destroy them all, Demeter," Hermes said, his usually cheerful face somber. "The race of mortals will perish, and there will be no one left to honor us." Demeter looked at him, her eyes hollow pits of despair. "Let them perish," she said, her voice a dry rustle. "My world has already ended. Why should theirs continue? He took my daughter, my sunlight. He dragged her into the dark. Until she is returned, nothing will grow. There will be no more spring. Her sorrow had unmade the world. It had halted the fundamental cycles of existence. It was a grief so powerful it could hold life and death hostage. A mother's love turned into a weapon that could starve the very gods of their worship. The silence of the dying earth was the only prayer she would now answer, for it was the only sound that matched the silence in her own heart. The world was saved by a compromise. 6 seeds of pomegranate eaten in the dark, a bargain struck between life and death. Persephone would return, but only for part of the year. But some things, once broken, can never be truly mended. The seasons were born from this compromise, a permanent scar on the world, a yearly reminder of a mother's pain. Every autumn, as the leaves fall and the earth grows cold, it is the echo of Demeter's grief returning. But what are things made by the gods? Can they too feel the pain of their creators? Let us go to a place of fire and metal, and listen to the sorrow of an anvil. Deep beneath the smoking peak of Mount Etna lies the forge of Hephaestus. We are not here to see him. The god of the forge is away, perhaps delivering a new weapon to Olympus, perhaps drowning his sorrows in wine with Dionysus. We are here to be with his creations and the tools that made them. The air is thick with the ghost of heat, the smell of cool metal and sulfur. Listen, the great bellows are still, but you can feel the memory of their rhythmic breath. In the center of the room stands the anvil, a massive block of celestial bronze, its surface scarred and pitted from millennia of divine labor. It has borne the brunt of God's frustration, his genius, and his pain. Hephaestus was the outcast, the lame god, ridiculed for his imperfection by the beautiful, cruel deities of Olympus. He was cast in the mountain as a baby by his own mother, Hera, ashamed of his deformity. His forge was his refuge, the only place where he was not judged, the only place where his worth was undeniable. Every object he created was a piece of his soul hammered into form. Let's feel the echoes left in the metal. Touch the shield he made for Achilles. It is a masterpiece, depicting a world of peace and war, of harvest and dances. But feel beneath the artistry. Feel the bitterness hammered into the bronze edge, the bitterness of a creator who knew this beautiful object would be used for senseless slaughter that would fail to protect the hero from his own fated end. Hephaestus understood the tragedy of creating beauty for a world that would inevitably mar it. Now, drift over to a corner where a delicate, shimmering net of bronze, almost invisible, lies in a heap. This is a net he forged to trap his unfaithful wife, Aphrodite, with her lover, Ares. Feel the intricacy of the links, each one a testament to his unmatched skill. But feel, too, the cold, calculated loneliness woven into its design. This was not a work of passionate rage. It was a work of deep, methodical humiliation. It was the creation of a being who knew he could never win his wife's love, so he settled for proving her faithlessness to all. The net did not just trap two lovers. It trapped the heart-taker god who was forever an outsider, even in his own marriage bed. Look at the golden thrones he built for the Olympians, inlaid with jewels and scenes from their own glorious myths. They are magnificent, but feel the quiet dignity and the subtle reproach in their construction. He built these seats of power for the very gods who mocked him. He served them as genius, and they accepted it as their due, never seeing the lonely, rejected child behind the master craftsman. Each throne is a monument to their hypocrisy, a silent testament to the fact that they relied upon the one they most despised. He built their world, and they never truly saw him. Every masterpiece he forged was a testament to his skill and a monument to his pain. But all things must end, even the work of God. Our journey is nearing its conclusion. We must go now to the one place all souls, mortal and divine, must eventually face. A river that offers the ultimate peace and the ultimate loss. We are in the underworld, but there is no terror here, not in this part. Only a profound, quiet stillness. We have passed the gates in the great three-headed, sleeping form of Cerberus. We are standing on the banks of a river. It does not rush or roar. It flows slowly, a ribbon of milky white mist moving to the eternal twilight of Elysium. This is the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. The newly dead, the shades of mortals, are led here before they can enter the fields of asphodel. They are tired. They carry the weight of their lives like a heavy cloak. their joys, their sorrows, their loves, their hatreds, their triumphs, and their shames. They drink from these placid, white waters, and the memories of their lives are washed away. They become placid shades, without identity, without pain, ready for an eternity of quiet, dreamless existence. The poets and philosophers of the world above debate this moment. Is it a mercy or a curse? To lose everything that made you who you were. To have the face of your mother, the laughter of your child, the warmth of your lover's hand, all erased. To lose the pain of your greatest failure, but also the joy of your greatest success. Lethe is not a punishment. It is an offering. It is the ultimate release. For what is memory but a collection of stories we tell ourselves? And all stories eventually become heavy. The weight of remembrance can be too much for a soul to bear for eternity. This river offers a final silence, not of grief or indifference, but completion. The journey we have taken together tonight, through the stone gardens and the empty fields, has been one of memory, of giving voice and forgotten, of sitting with the silences left by sorrow. But now, you stand before the opposite. The water flows before you. It whispers a promise of peace, of a silence not of grief, but of release. It offers an end to all stories, even the one you believe is your own. The choice that every soul must face is now yours, in this quiet space between waking and sleep. Do you drink and let go of it all, even this quiet path we have walked together tonight? Do you erase the echoes to find a dreamless sleep? Or do you choose to remember and carry these stories with you into the final silence, whatever it may be? There is no right answer. There is only your choice. And in that choice, we will find our final destination. Whether you chose to drink or to remember, the outcome is the same. Peace. For even memory, when accepted without struggle, finds its own stillness. Our journey is over, but there is one last echo to hear. It is not the story of a single god, but the story of them all in their final moments. It was not a great war, not a Ragnarok of fire and destruction as the Norsemen dreamed. The gods of Olympus did not die in battle. They simply faded. They drank from their own river Lethe, not with their lips, but with the slow, inexorable turning of ages. Let us visit a crumbling, overgrown temple on a forgotten Greek hillside. The last priest, an old man with failing eyes, has just swept the altar stone for final time and has passed away in his sleep. No one will replace him. The statue of Zeus within is cracked. A family of birds has nested in his marble beard. The power of Olympus was tied to human belief, to the energy of worship that flowed from the mortal world to the divine. As humanity's stories changed, as their philosophies grew and their faith turned to new things, the gods grew quieter, more transparent. The thunder from Olympus became just weather. The voice of the oracle became just wind in the rocks. The gods became what they are now. Stories, myths, echoes. They did not fight it. They were weary. An eternity of passion, of jealousy, of conflict had worn them down. One by one, they fell silent. Apollo's lyre was unstrung. Ares laid down his spear. Aphrodite's laughter no longer echoed in the halls. Zeus, the great king, sat upon his throne and watched clouds of Olympus grow thin and translucent until he could see the mortal world below clear as day, a world that no longer saw him. And then he too closed his eyes. And so they sleep. Perhaps they dream of thunder and laurel crowns, of the taste of nectar and the sting of betrayal. Or perhaps they dream of nothing at all, having found their own peace in the final silence that comes when a story is well and truly over. My voice, too, is fading. I was born of their stories, a resonance left behind in their empty temples. And as their stories settle into the quiet library of myth, my purpose is fulfilled. The threshold you stood upon at the beginning of our journey is dissolving. There is no more journeying to be done. There is only rest. The silence that awaits you now is not the silence of chaos, nor the silence of grief. It is your own, deep, untroubled, and serene. Sleep well. As you drift into your own quiet realm, carry this peace with you until we may meet again.